I just thought I'd do a quick breakdown of the early slate. I'm going to be building my lineup as we go, so hopefully we'll get some people in here in chat. Sheets was supposed to join me, but had to run. We did just do our video for the day, which I just posted on YouTube, so you can check that out. But wanted to try and just do a quick one. You know, as often as I can, I want to be there for you guys. It hasn't been the best run baseball for me. I know Sheets has had some success lately. I'm had an incredible history at baseball, and I just certain things this, you know, since the All-Star break especially, just hasn't been going my way. But hopefully we turn it around today, and hopefully you guys can join us. Right now I don't see anybody in the chat, but I'm sure that you guys will filter in those of you who are available anyway who are playing this slate. I haven't even built my lineup yet. I'm only playing one lineup. I'm sort of struggling because I have to play two pitchers. And I am worried about the top end pitching quite a bit. Now, it's a 3-game slate. I'm going to have to do some of it. I think the strikeout upside in general for Rodon, just as a pitcher that he is, I think I'm probably going to end up wanting to get that, but I'm sort of debating right now. And then Ryu, I love as a real life pitcher, and we saw the White Sox obviously struggle against the lefty last night. Doesn't mean that's going to happen every night. I sort of like the idea of playing the White Sox a little bit today. I also sort of like the idea of playing Toronto a little bit today. So I'm struggling a little bit, to be honest with you, about my pitching. I do think it's going to be hard probably to get me off of Sonny Gray. And that even has its risks, but I'm willing to let that go. But Sonny Gray is probably going to be my first guy in, and then I'm sort of deciding the rest of them based on how I want to build. The obvious stacks for a slate like this, I mean, look, the obvious stacks are to play the LA-Baltimore game, right? But do we really want to do that? What's really weird here is that if I felt like Barria really had a leash, I think I would be playing Barria as my SP2, trying to get different on this slate. And do we really want to play the chalk offenses when we have some other ones that are much better offenses that are just in worse spots? So I'm sort of struggling with that. So pop in, let us know what you guys are thinking about doing. Maybe we can find this out together. Good to see you, K9 Bronco. Always happy, man. Loyal guy, always around, and always good talking with you. So drop in any questions or thoughts about what you're doing on this slate, and you know, I'm still trying to find my way through it. I'm really kind of iffy. I think that the simple part of it is probably just take the, you know, the weird part is there's a big part of me that wants to take Keegan Akin here. He actually only has a 1K prop lower than Sonny Gray and Hyun-Jin Ryu, and 1.5 lower than Rodon. I think I probably just end up sticking with the Rodon thing because he just doesn't get lit up enough. So I think that's probably the way to go. But it's, you know, you're trying to get different on these slates. So I'm trying to find another path. I do think there is some merit to that Keegan Akin idea or Barria to get a little different. I don't think I can come to it with the Brett Anderson thing. I don't think it's the worst. It's just not, you know, it's actually really not the worst, to be honest with you. And I actually kind of like his K prop for over 4, over 3.5. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But anyway, just a little, I don't know, Sheets always says, whatever you call it, like, it doesn't matter. You know, these small slates, not they don't matter, but I'm always going to get you something, whether it's in Discord or whatever. If I don't have my sheets built out, I'll always have the main sheets done every day. But sometimes for the early ones, because I'm on the West Coast and me and Sheets record early and we focus on that slate, it's sometimes hard to get them out. So I'm giving my thoughts now. Unfortunately, my thoughts are, okay, so they're get weird. That's one thing. Let's find ways to get weird. We have some pretty massive chalk, and it's a small slate, so we want to try and get a little different. And we have the two best offenses potentially getting very little to no ownership. And I think that's something that's intriguing to me. So that's just where I'm at. I do like the White Sox. I think that you can play hitters against your pitchers. Obviously, it's a small enough slate where that's what we want to do sometimes. And I think that certainly today would be one of those days. I think I'm going to get some exposure against Ryu, which really feels bad because he's just a really good pitcher. But I definitely want some of that to try and get a little bit off the board. I don't think I'm breaking any brand new stuff here, but that's just what I'm doing. Jumping back in there, K9, let me know who are you playing on this slate? I know that on FanDuel, the tournaments in the mornings aren't usually as good, but kind of curious who you have out there. Another piece of housekeeping, which is what Sheets always calls it. I couldn't remember for a second. Don't forget, guys, we're offering this free for a month, and then you can get out of here if you don't like what we've got. Sheets is Sheets alone. have been absolute fire. And I think that you should be looking into that. I really do. I think it's a mistake that people are just, I don't know. I would be looking into that if I was you guys. This is a weird one because I do like the Baltimore, and Angels sides of things, obviously, but I just think we got to try and get a little bit different. We have to try and be a little bit better than that and just playing those obvious spots. Cincinnati is going to be the next most obvious spot for people. And I like Cincinnati against Anderson, but I think I would prefer to keep none of these. And I just don't think I'm fully stacking anything. I'm just looking for my favorite plays that can get me a little bit different. And that's sort of where I'm at. Like Eugenio Suarez would be my Cincinnati player. I don't mind Aquino, but I like as I mentioned, Baltimore outfielders quite a bit. And I want to play 2 White Sox, and I want to try and get, if I can, see if I can get 2 Blue Jays in there as well. And I think you can do it pretty easily with the pricing the way that it currently is constructed. In fact, I have actually way, way too much money left on the table with my current build, which may actually be another thing we can do, which is a little different. So I can't show you guys my build, obviously, because we're not allowed to. I know we try to do it sometimes, but we get in a lot of trouble for it, to be completely honest. And it's this Rodon. So, I actually think it's a good spot to play Vladdy. And I think that I'm going to play Eloy. Yeah, this works out kind of nicely for me. So I am using, 2 White Sox bats, 1 Toronto bat, trying to get up to 2 of each. And then I'm using 2 Baltimore bats and 1 Angels bat. The Angels are interesting because I think that Joe Adell is the guy. I think he's maybe the better play than the other guys who are, maybe better play than some of the Baltimore guys today. I actually think he's a really solid play. So I would be trying to get Joe Adell in probably ahead of anyone not named Ohtani, just for ownership and other reasons. Obviously, Suzuki is a great play. But I like the Joe Adell play in the outfield. He's my favorite from the Angels side of it. And it leaves me in a funny spot. And I like Urias on the other side. So I'm going to update my entries so I don't lose it because the slate's about to start. So I want to make sure I get that. But let me know what you guys are doing if you have any thoughts. You think you're playing some Brewers against? I like that. That's another way to go. Try the lefties in LA to be different. I like that a little. I don't know if it's going to be that different. I don't think we need. I don't think that it's such a sure thing that game just crushes the other games. And if I can mix that in, maybe 4 pieces from that game, but use some other pieces from particularly the Brewers, as you mentioned, but I personally will be a little bit biased towards the other game because I do think that I could see a path for a big one from Toronto and from Chicago. It's not going to last forever, and these are tough matchups. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Rodon truther. I've said it for years. I've been mocked. When times when he doesn't look good. He's had a couple of rough outings lately. Even in those rough outings, then he comes back. 89 pitches last time out. I know it was the Cubs, but 11 Ks and 89 pitches. Jeez. And I actually think of all, if you take these guys' careers of all these pitchers, Ryu's actually been the best pitcher for his career by a pretty good amount amongst all 3 of those guys, in my opinion. I could see Sonny Gray getting hit today. I don't mind if you want to go that route. I like him in general as a pitcher. I always feel like he's gotten a little bit of the short end of the stick and been a little bit underrated. Then it sort of flipped and he almost got to be overrated. But anyway, I am going to try and mix in my White Sox and my Blue Jays with the situation. And then I like playing the weird Baltimore guys. Obviously Santana and Peters are the obvious ones, but I like to get, Ramon Urias in there down at the bottom of the order. And that's what I've currently got here. And I have Suarez as my only red right now, which I'm actually not I like Suarez. He hasn't been the same this year against lefties, but he's still been, the guy still has a ton of power. And I'm sort of stuck with a Teoscar versus Eloy decision right now. Fading Mullins feels terrible, but he's probably going to be 70% owned. But you can just play Teoscar, and he has, I think, significantly lower ownership. And that is certainly what I'm looking at doing at this moment. So that's for what it's worth. I also like Luis Robert quite a bit. but yeah, there's there's a lot of different ways to go for a 2-game slate. I just suggest you get very weird with it. You don't need to fully stack anything. If you want to, go ahead. On FanDuel, it makes more sense to try and get some stacking in the same positions. You want to try and optimize yourself. But yeah, I'm with you, Jamie. I think I see the White Sox in Rio. Recap pitching. I really don't think there's many things to consider here. Like, it sucks because I think that I truly think Keegan Aiken has a good argument. The problem is the tournaments I'm playing aren't big enough to try and take that kind of a stand. I think he's got an argument here. I don't love it. But I think Berea has an argument for large field tournaments, but I couldn't even get into the large field tournaments in time. So that's where I'm sort of stuck. And I think it's just, we're going to play Gray, Rodon, and Ryu. And even if you're playing hitters against them, that shouldn't change anything. I'm looking at this from a very basic concept. You're going to get somewhat lowish ownership on the best hitters on the slate, and I'm going to play those hitters. So that's what one thing I'm really trying to make sure to prioritize here. I know I mentioned I liked Adele and obviously the chalk Suzuki, but you can also get in. I mean, you could play Sebi Zavala like as a weird one-off, you know what I mean, against Ryu, or as a weird 2-man or 3-man. I just am not finding the need to stack, and I think that unless you're playing LA or Baltimore, which I think you're doing it wrong if you are, because it's just going to be too popular. I just don't see any way it doesn't end up being significantly more popular than everything else. So that's my argument against it, but it's rough. I would like to get more. I'm trying to find a way to get some more Toronto and the guys I really want in. Maybe you could play this Jones and down at the bottom of the order for Baltimore. I like Urias, I mentioned, but these guys aren't going to be unowned by any means. So that's just sort of something I'm thinking about. And I would play for power and I would play for speed on this thing. So I think you can potentially get a base or two in that Toronto game from both sides. Just the way that I look at it right now. So anyway, I know this stuff isn't revolutionary, but we're trying to find ways to get it a little bit different here. If I played Robert, I do think Eloy is a better overall player than Luis Robert, but I don't think it's that big of a gap between them. Those are the two guys who I would look at, and I also very much like Teoscar Hernandez today. Trying to get a 2-2-1-1 kind of a thing with the. I do want 4 players from that Toronto Chicago game. I actually think that the offenses get a little bit of it going a little bit today. So that's what I'm trying to do. All right, if I go to Jones at second, I literally am playing a one-off of, that just feels wrong. 2K. Ugh, this build is giving me headaches. Do I really need to lock myself into the Suarez thing and what's a really good matchup for him? He's, there's always a platoon possibility with him as well. I think maybe I'm too locked into it, and I'm probably going to pivot off of that and play a couple Baltimore bottom of the order guys. Let's do this. Boom. Eloy, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get Joe Adele. There we go. So my main lineup now is a 2-2-2-2. Okay. And it's a 3-game slate. I just want to remind you guys, this is not the right way to play in general. This is the way you play on some of these really weird slates. And I have 2 hitters against one of my pitchers. The love for Castellanos, I'm just going to throw something out there. Castellanos basically hasn't hit outside of Cincinnati this entire season. Now, is that going to totally transfer? No, but he's hit. I'm not kidding you. I think he's all but 19 of his 22 home runs. Is that what it is? It's somewhere around 90% of his home runs, and his batting average drops 140 points on the road. There is some real reasons not to play a chalky Castellanos for that reason. But if you're going to tell me I'm getting low ownership, I'd be all over it. As of right now, I'm preferring to go for the Eloy, the Teoscar, the guys in the outfield, and then I love Santander and I love Stewart, but I'm just not going to play them because in my build, because I just don't think that I can get different enough by playing them. And maybe, you know what, now that the counter side of these tournaments aren't so big, maybe I don't need to be so creative. Maybe I don't need to do all that. And these are all, points that I'm sort of weighing right now as I go through it. How much off the board, how much different do I really need to be to try to win this slate? And it feels weird to not have any interest in Brett Anderson or have very little interest in Brett Anderson. He's viable, but also not want to play any Reds. So I'm just sort of struggling with my final decisions on some of this stuff. And I think that might be, I might have just answered my own question. Maybe to mix it up a little bit more than what I was going to do and go to. I think I may have Santander in my one of my big lineups just because I think that there's some not leverage, but there's some value in doing that. I really want to get to more Toronto stuff. And by the way, I mean, you in this case, you can get your starting pitcher can get there and get it all done for you, and it may not matter by the end of it. Yeah, I keep ending up in the same exact spot here. I would like to get another White Sox bat in here, and that is not going to happen if I do that. Yeah, anyway. For what it's worth, you can even play lefties against Ryu. I don't mind Brian Goodwin. That's something that I was considering doing earlier, and I think it makes some sense. And I think I'm just going to have to lay off of the potential Santander thing because I just think we're getting too much ownership here, guys. I just think it's going to be too high. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. 4K. And then I can play, maybe I will play a DJ Stewart where I need to save completely. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go. And Jamal Jones, like at minimum cost, I'm sorry, Jahmai Jones. I think I'm probably just going to spend the 900 more for Urias. But anyway, popping any more last thoughts or questions. This is just what I'm doing. I'm not saying it's something that you need to do, but I am trying to get off of the chalk any which way I can. And this is so far the best I've got when it comes to that. It'll feel weird if I don't play Joe Adell, right, after what I just said about him. So I would like to try and force him in if we can do so. And I think we can. So if I play Joe Adell, leaves me in a weird, it really leaves you in some weird spots here if you don't do the certain things. Joe Adell, 2K. So Jahmai Jones is a one-off, huh? Is that what I'm looking at today? I might be doing that. Ugh, doesn't feel like the best thing in the world to do, does it? Well, I've got only a couple more minutes, so we're gonna have to decide in a hurry. Last thoughts or questions. We do need a big true DFS takedown. I'm ready for the main slate, Adam. We did post the video. I will update my projections as soon as I'm done with this video, but we just had back-to-back videos today, so couldn't do it. Strong start in golf for whatever that's worth, so that's nice. It's been my one moneymaker for the last month, so I haven't had a losing session yet in golf, and I'm ready to keep that ball rolling. All right, let's see. Boy. Barrero. This Barrero guy just doesn't have any power at all, does he? That actually isn't the worst idea, though, to play Barrero instead of Jones. Leave out Baltimore, which almost makes me feel like I should be playing Barria. Huh. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this weirdness. Well, instead of the weirdness, I'm going to play the one piece of Baltimore in Mullins, and I'm going to actually play him with Jones. Ugh. 1, 2, 3. There you go. There's my final lineup, and that's my final answer. Oh, well, hopefully it works out for us. Hopefully we crush this early slate, and more importantly, the later slate, because the early slate is, I mean, it's just, there's not a whole lot of things you can say about it. You know, I'm gonna build one $15 lineup while we're here with a Keegan Aiken and Barria as my pitchers, just to get really weird. I mean, you have to get really weird to try to win on these slates sometimes, and that's what I'm going to try and do with this particular lineup. Wow. Yeah, it's not a prettiest of pictures. Literally can't spend all your money if you try, if you do that. Maybe there's one way to do it. Yeah, there you go. That's close enough. Boy, that is an ugly lineup. That's like a low ball lineup. The play Aiken and Barria together. Good luck, everybody, and I will update my sheets shortly. Let's crush it. Good luck, all.